Hi, welcome to Herding Little Cows in our series on hospitality. This short video is just to explain about randomly showing up with a blessing for somebody. We've had a few different times where we haven't expected anything and somebody's just shown up and given us some food, and it's just been such a blessing to see that God still remembers us even in the small things that are happening in our lives. We had a family from the local church that we go to here in town, or next town over, that randomly showed up with dinner one night. I had no idea they were coming. They hadn't said anything to us, and they showed up with a hot meal about a half an hour before dinner time. And it was just such a blessing. I didn't know their family had been praying for us or thinking about us. When we were in Texas, when we first went out on the road, a lady stopped by and dropped off some baby clothes. I was about 6 months pregnant with Joshua, and she dropped off some food and some coloring books for the other kids. And we didn't know this lady, and we could never find her. She said she was at the campground that we were staying at, but nobody fit her description as we talked to other people. And there was also a family in Kentucky that we had just used the end of our food, just used the last of the meat in our freezer. And this lady who had a grandmother, I think, who was parked at the spot next to us, showed up with a box of random food. I remember we got sausage gravy and I didn't know what to do with it. But a box of random food that filled our freezer, our little camper freezer, that's about this big. But Virginia and Mark had to both push on it to get our freezer to close. It was that full. God has blessed us in many ways with just random food at a time that we didn't know we were able to, how we would buy food the next day. We also had a time where we had just used the last piece of meat when we were living in Kansas, and somebody gave us a roast, like one of those deli roast beef, the big ones they chop up, gave us a whole one of those right as we had used the last meat. And when we were in Georgia, the day we had used our last meat, we had somebody show up at the house with corn dogs. The lady in Kentucky had also given us corn dogs. Showed up with corn dogs, but also he worked at the meat part of a grocery store and had bought some discounted meat that he had gotten. And all of those times, people didn't know our need. They just saw that they were able to fill a need for a family they thought might need something. And we've had somebody who's been giving us some food as Mark's been out of work. If she has some extras from the food pantry she works with, she's brought food down to us, and she brought us boxes of bread not that long ago. But I had a freezer that wasn't working and I couldn't store it. We were getting to the point that I was afraid it was going to go bad and we couldn't use it. So all of a sudden God brought to mind somebody that I hadn't talked to in a while. And when I called, I was like, I don't even know if you remember me, but I have some extra bread and thought maybe you guys could use it. And for their family, they had been wanting to go to the bread store and hadn't been able to go. And she was actually about to head out the door to go buy bread at the store. So that was a way from these experiences we had with people just randomly dropping off food, that God taught me that I was able to bless another family. So please just look around and see if you have some extra resources. Maybe you have a can of something that was given to you that you know you'll never use, and God's going to bring to mind somebody who that's their favorite food. You don't know. You also don't know people's circumstances. I know there have been many times where someone's reached out to us or I've reached out to them and didn't know the need, and God specifically filled the need with the exact thing that they wanted or needed at that time. So I hope this is a blessing to you. I hope you can look around and see needs in other people's lives and what God has provided you with where you can bless somebody else, all for His glory. Thank you for joining us today. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel or like us on Facebook.